Let's see that bad boy, Gary.
Huh?
Let's see it.
There it is.
There it is.
It's my
Yes,
title.
There's my belt I'm going to retain.
it's a title.
Come
The
on
belt
out.
holds up your pants. Meltdown.
That's right. Rhino's got
Championship title.
Gary Pillette and Rhino join us here from, of course, IWR. I'm even representing today. See, so yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. Look at that. Wow, insane wrestling revolution. A lot of things happening. Gary, first of all, let me ask you about this. So, you guys coming up on your 5-year anniversary?
5-year anniversary, December 26th. 33 shows.
Wow, Rhino, congratulations, man.
Thank you. Thank you. Couldn't have done it without Gary and the support of many like yourself.
Many,
Yeah,
yeah.
I love going down there. And actually Gary invited me down, I think for my first one about a year and a half ago or so, and I've become addicted. Unfortunately, you guys are doing them on Thursdays, and I got my Buffalo Wild Wings appearances I'm doing during the football season. But once those end, we'll be back down there to watch you guys wrestle down in there in Monroe at the is it at FOP?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. On
For,
Strasburg Road there. So
yeah. Fraternal Order of Police.
yeah,
That's what
there
it
you
stands
go.
for.
So, but
Right.
you guys have a lot of things going on. We'll get to the 26th coming up here in just a few minutes. But first of all, Gary, before we got on, you were just telling me about what you guys have going on Thursday, which is December the 5th. So tell everybody what's happening.
Yeah, it's our first annual IWR Christmas party fundraiser, and we're going to raise money for the Oaks of Righteousness homeless shelter and food pantry. It's $10 a ticket to get in for the adult. 10 and under is free. Bring a donated item with you as well. And we're going to have pizza from Tiffany's Pizza. We're going to have cookies from Cakes by Stephanie. A lot of other local businesses have supported and donated waters and drinks. And we're going to have it's going to be a good time. We're going to have a ring, not a ring set up, but we're going to have our entrance set up to where people can walk through the entrance and feel like an IWR superstar. Maybe have some Stone Cold Steve Austin music playing or something in the background, so they can come through the curtain and see what it's like to be a Rhino.
Yeah, there you go. Now they can pick any song they want.
Well, we'll probably have some they can pick from. I don't know. I don't want to overwhelm DJ Shortstop, but yeah, we'll probably have like 5 or 6 entrances they can pick from, and they can walk through, and it'll be a good time. We're gonna have raffle baskets there. We'll probably have some craft stations set up so kids can color. We got a special visitor coming around 6 o'clock. I heard Santa Claus is gonna be there at 6 o'clock. So it's gonna
Wait
be
a second. Did you just give it up? Is that the special guest, or is there another one?
Well, no, Rhino, he's a special guest.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what
Keyword special.
yeah,
Very special.
hey, you guys should charge a little bit more and have Rhino put people through tables. Now see, there you go.
Yeah, yeah. But
Tables are
then,
expensive.
yeah, tables are very expensive. I love how everybody has so many great ideas that cost so much money. Yeah, it's funny because Brad, he does a lot of the video editing and stuff like that, and a lot of the pictures. And he's like, "Hey, why don't you see if you can get this guy or this girl or that girl?" And it's like, well, what do you think our budget is? We blow our budget every show, and we're always going in, praying and with our fingers crossed. Hopefully, we'll make it up at the door. But it's funny because a lot of people have great suggestions too.
Yeah,
But
they're all great.
right now,
Yeah,
They're all expensive, but they're all great.
I can see
yeah,
it now. It's like, why don't you guys just get The Rock for your Christmas show? Just whatever,
yeah,
just call him up.
Don't give away the surprise, Meltdown.
yeah. Come on, Meltdown.
Jeez.
Jeez.
I don't know
Yeah.
if I ever told you guys this story, but I was actually at my son's hockey practice. This is going back probably around 7 or 8 years ago. And I looked down at, he was practicing in Allen Park, and this community center was an ice rink, and it had like a gymnasium and stuff like that. And I looked down the hall, and there was this gigantic green screen there. And I'm like, oh. So I started nosing around. He's just at practice, whatever. And The Rock was shooting one of his commercials in there. He wasn't there that day, but he was flying in. He was shooting something for, I think, Ford or something. He was going to shoot it at Allen Park, drive
Yeah.
Dearborn. Yeah.
Yeah, he was at the
Yeah.
plant.
Yeah.
He was at Dearborn Truck that day too.
Yeah. You're going to
Yeah.
say, no? Yeah.
Yeah. That was what about
Whoa,
yeah. That was what about
special effects.
7 years ago or something?
Yeah.
Maybe longer than that. Yeah, yeah. I remember that commercial.
Yeah. Something like that. So what, Rhino, what do you got going on right now? You're all over the place. You're hard to keep track of.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, going down to North Carolina for TNA and still with TNA, wrestle and produce for them. TNA Hall of Famer.
That's
I
right.
remind Gary daily
Yeah, I have to
Sometimes,
refer to him as Hall of Famer Rhino when I address him now.
Well,
right,
hey,
right.
you got to take it when you can get it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Sometimes I just ask him if he can, go grab something for me to eat and run it over. He's like Uber Eats. I go, listen, Hall of Famers don't use Uber Eats. You know, not saying there's anything wrong with it, but it's just what us Hall of Famers do.
yeah. You were
So
just you were just honored with that a few weeks ago, right?
yeah, the 26
Yeah. So tell
in
me about
Detroit.
that, like, 'cause I haven't had a chance to talk to you about that.
Yeah, I had no, obviously I'm joking. I don't, throw it up in Gary's face or I don't, brag about it. It's definitely an honor to be recognized, from TNA and the crazy thing about it is we had a show at the FOP. I think it was October 24th, that Thursday. The Friday I flew down with no sleep down to Atlanta, got there, guy picked me up, the promoter. We drove about an hour to the next town. I worked out, then went to the show, did the show, drove back to Atlanta, got 3 hours of sleep, got on the flight, flew back, landed, went right to the pay-per-view. And anyways, had no sleep. Then I had to give this speech. And I'm like, man, either it's gonna tank or it's gonna come across pretty good. So I thought it came across really well because I didn't have anything prepared. Dreamer just said, hey, poke a little fun at me, and then bullet points, your parents, and how you started off in your career, and then go from there. So I only had about 8.5 minutes, but because they had to start the pay-per-view and everything, and you really got to make your time. So I just spoke from the heart, and a lot of people said it came across really, really well. So, but I didn't get everything in I wanted to, but I got some important things in, so but yeah, at the moment, you really don't realize it, but afterwards you're like, wow, this is really cool, so.
No, it's great. And plus, you got two in your hometown, and people don't realize, talking for 8.5 minutes, that's not easy.
No, no, I was Ingrid, she actually works with us. She's a pit bull on that floor because she'll give times and stuff, like in ring, and she kind of runs that whole floor around the ring area and makes things happen, and anyways, she's counting me down, or basically counting me down how much time I have left. And I know not to piss her off because she'd just grab me and, all right, your time's up, let's go. so but no, it's just in front of the crowd, and I really meant that when I said I didn't deserve it, or I didn't say that. I said um it wasn't mine, it was all of ours, because without the fans just going supporting you, cheering for you, whether they like you or not, there's some type of interaction, and without their support, it's just, you don't have a career, so. And I really meant that it was all of ours, because we all put in a lot of time, following wrestling. I'm sure wrestling's disappointed you, at times, it's disappointed me, not just wrestling, but as a fan. Sometimes you think it'll go this way and it'll go that way. And, I remember when I was a kid and Hulk Hogan lost to, it was February 5th. It was a Friday night main event, the first one, when he lost to Andre the Giant,
Mhm.
and his shoulder, he kicked out. And then, oh, that really pissed me off with wrestling. But my point is, sometimes they don't put out the best angles or whatever, but it's we all stick through it and we all grind through it. In the end, we're all entertained. So
Yeah. I was just thinking about this as you were talking, that the last time I think I saw you, Rhino, was at your birthday. So once again, happy belated birthday. Hope you
oh
like
yeah, yeah, thank you.
hope you like the card I gave you.
Yes, yes, I actually still have it hanging on my door.
Hey,
So
Gary. Rhino and my history goes back 23 years and some change when he met me a few days after my daughter was born, and then
what
I
day was it?
that was, I want to say, July. You always tell July 28th, I think.
27th.
You say the 27th. I always thought it was
It is the 27th.
all right. That's only
Yeah.
three. Well, Yeah, that's 4 days after she was born. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah, you had to get out of there. You're like, hey, I gotta. My daughter was just born. Yada yada yada. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Nice meeting you. We'll stay in touch.
Yeah, we did stay in touch.
27 or 23 years later, here we
Yeah.
are.
I know. I
Yeah.
even I even taught the guy how to plant flowers and everything. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. In your biker leather.
that's right.
Yeah,
I showed up on
leather
my
jacket.
motorcycle one
Yeah,
day.
yeah,
Here's
yeah.
down in the man beast planting flowers around a light pole in front of his
It
house.
was a great, yeah, it was a great tip too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
a
Exactly.
little water in there. Yeah.
Yeah, then you
So,
put everything there. So, Gary, when did you meet Rhino?
Oh, we had him come in for a charity show we did, gosh, 10, 11 years ago.
So you were doing wrestling shows before you guys hooked up together?
I do like card shows and Comic Cons and stuff like that. Yeah, and we met, and he just never left.
Yeah. Like a bad penny.
yeah, right.
You
If
can't
you
get rid
try
of
to get rid of me, I always find my way back in. You'll never leave me.
it. So you guys decided to do your first was the first wrestling promotion of IWR at the FOP down in Monroe, the same place?
The first one, oh, go ahead.
No, go. Yeah, you've had it before, right? I mean, it wasn't like
Well, here's how it started. I would do charity shows, and I would just one a year, and then I started to do a couple of years. I didn't do it, and I started to do a couple, and then when I went back to WWE, I just didn't have the time to do them, and I would do a charity show here or there, and then when I moved down to Monroe, Gary came over and brought me a housewarming gift, a bottle of scotch that I still have. It's funny because I go, thanks, Gary, but I don't drink. He goes, well, I didn't know what to get you. I just asked people. I go, don't
off
worry,
the couch.
my friends will love it. So, anyways, just going around Monroe, everybody was just like, Rhino, hey, what are you doing here? Rhino, Rhino. And I called Gary and I said, I know you do the Pop Fest and everything. Maybe we should run some wrestling shows here because it seems like a really good wrestling town. And one thing led to another, and we became a business, and everything's 50-50. And it just one thing led to another. And what I lack, it's one of his strengths. And his wife gives us a lot of great input too. So we call her the boss. So,
Without the
but
dog.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, it just worked, so.
No, that's great. And then, of course, I see Gary's dad there, and of course, your girlfriend's there as well. She always,
Yeah.
I don't know if she helps out or just for moral support or just to make sure I don't get in the ring. I can't remember what
I think so, something like that. So
He assigned her to you.
Yeah.
To keep you out of trouble.
yeah, right, right.
Just keep
Trouble in trouble.
drinks and don't let him in the ring. Just keep him over
Right,
here.
right.
But I've met some great people down there. Of course, the first one I went to, Darren McCarty was at. I've known him for a billion years, and he introduces me to Steve from the Greatest Wrestling Collection, and we become really good friends. He's a good dude. I
Yeah.
like hanging out with him a lot, and
Yeah.
you see some of the same people there, and everyone treats me so well that I get fist bumps and people asking, hey, can I get a picture and stuff? It's like so much fun to go down there and just hang out with everybody.
Yeah, it's almost, you have that family.
Yeah.
And Gary and I, we put a lot of hours in each show, and it's just one of those things where you do it not for you do it because you enjoy the product.
Yeah.
When people can go there and you create memories, that's really why we do it.
It's not for
And
the money.
everything. Yeah, we haven't taken any money out of that. We just, other than going to breakfast once or twice a month, and we're usually working. We'll book the card and we'll rebook the card, and some people that can't make it, and
Yeah.
so it's a lot of work and passing out the flyers and doing the stuff online. So, and like you said, GWC, and you see a lot of the same people, and you see a lot of families there, and that's a great thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just grown and grown and grown, and and people love it. I mean, the community loves it. So that's one of the best things. We just get to be a bigger part of the community and give them something to look forward to and something to remember. And then
Yeah.
we also, like you said, we always try to do the charity. You know, we go feed the homeless, and we're doing this charity event right here. We have food drives all the time. So it's just a good part. It's a good partnership, and it's a great way to be a part of the community.
What are some of
Yeah.
the highlights from the past 5 years, Gary?
The highlights,
Yeah.
it's always the next show, I guess. I mean, it's like I don't know, always just look forward to the next one. So I mean, I love the guys we brought in, the guys Terry's friends. He's brought in, Billy Gunn and just some amazing people. But I don't know, just seeing my family there and our friends and the crowd and the reactions to the wrestlers. I mean, we're blessed to have some of the best pro wrestlers anywhere right here in Ohio and Michigan, and they all want to be a part of our family. We're happy to have them, and they just go out and just kill it every 6 weeks at the FOP. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
that Billy Gunn show. I'm sorry I missed because I was out of town. But yeah, go ahead, Rhino. I'm sorry.
No, that was a great show. Every show we do, it's like, how do we top it?
yeah,
And for some, we figure out a way. And I like the fact that, with wrestling and wrestlers, we just don't open our hearts and arms to everybody. And I like to see the fact that a lot of these wrestlers, even on an independent level, how they really open their arms and hearts to Gary and his family and stuff like that. Because, they're real genuine too, the guys we use. And, you got guys like Trey and Jason Hotch, Ace Austin, all these guys that are just, their careers are going like this, and you're part of it, and you feel, they're doing all the hard work, but you're part of, watching them grow. And like a band, as you see that band just take off, it's just one of those things where it's great to be part of, and that's really fun to see, when they go up to Gary and stuff, and hey Gary, hey, how you doing? Blah blah blah, and this and that, and it's really fun to see. So
No, it is kind of it's kind of cool. I never thought about it before, but in your wrestling program, you've got guys all over the place in different spectrums of their career.
yeah, yeah, and that's the cool thing, and sometimes we'll sit back and we'll have to pinch ourselves too, because the shows will come off and we're just like, wow, that was great,
yeah,
and we always learn how we can better ourselves. And I'll even go to Gary and I'll say, I failed at booking that match, or maybe I failed at, putting it up, you know, um, second when it should have been main event, and we're always learning, how to better it. And Gary, it's pretty funny because I go, hey, why don't you put my match in the main event on the VIP? And Gary looked at me, he goes, what makes you think you're main event material? So So, but yeah, it's that stuff, and I try to teach Gary, the things that, I've learned, so it'll better himself, or it'll better him. That way, if, I need to do something else, he can pick up that little slack, you know what I mean? So it's not like if one of us gone, all hell breaks loose, So,
Yeah.
but I couldn't do his job, especially all the promotional stuff, online and all that.
No, he does a great job with that. One of my favorite moments since I've been going to see IWR is when the Sandman
oh
arrived.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like
That was really cool.
Yeah, I love when he came in. Sandman's he's awesome. He's
yeah,
just like, he loves everybody. And, in that entrance, he goes, I'll walk along that wall, or I seen him walking along the wall. And I'm just like, please don't fall, because people accidentally spill stuff, and, it might be slippery. You might not know. And I'm like, man, don't slip and fall and knock yourself out on the concrete. But yeah, and it's so many people
yeah.
just love that,
Well,
and he hit a home run with that.
to
And
be
oh,
able to surprise the fans with somebody like Sandman, or to surprise the fans with somebody like Sabu, and it's just an awesome feeling because nobody knew those guys were going to be there at those separate shows, and then all of a sudden, lights go off, lights come on, and there's the Sandman, or lights go off, lights come on, there's Sabu in the middle of the ring, and it's just
Yeah.
it's iconic for me to be able to say that we've had these guys in the middle of our ring, and it's just a cool
Yeah.
feeling.
No, it's
Yeah.
great. And yeah, it was really cool. The thing that's always amazed me about Sandman is how he got to use that music, because Metallica is very protective of their stuff.
Well,
And
don't tell
he's
them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like that's a
Yeah.
secret.
Yeah. Right. Right. But it just I heard they're very protective, and for all those years he used it in ECW, and I don't know what, but yeah, it just never got flagged or anything. Obviously that was a different time, but so
Yeah. So you got the thing coming up Thursday with that's also at the FOP as well, right? Everything is there.
Yep.
Yep,
Yep.
everything there.
And then you got the 26th. And what is that event called?
Seasons Beatings, IWR 33 Seasons Beatings. It's our
And you got
5-year anniversary show.
yeah, and who are the big names that are going to be there?
You got Nick Nemeth, formerly known as WWE's Dolph Ziggler. We got Rhino. We got PCO coming back. We have Jody Threat. Who else? We got Tommy Dreamer, ECW original, the innovator of violence. Tommy Dreamer is coming back. Then we got our whole cast of of guys. We got Jason Hotch going to be there. We got Shelly Benson, Mila Moore, Sam Beal. It's a full card. It's going to be typically this show is always our biggest show. So I mean it's going to be our biggest show of 2024 for sure.
I always get the feeling when I'm there, like not only I was talking about the fans earlier, but also some of the wrestlers I've met. They really seem to really like to work for you guys. They seem to really care about what they're doing, and I'm talking about the young guys, the middle pack guys, everybody.
yeah. And there's a school down in Toledo where some of them come from, Skull and Bones. And it's nice because you can watch them start from nothing and gradually, learn and progress. And they'll come and help out. And then I'll see them and it's like, okay, how can we get them to the next level? How can we fit them in on the show? And then they start developing that personality because they're learning the moves and everything. And it's just great to see them come out of their shell.
Yeah.
And then when the fans start to get used to them, and then the fans, cheer for them when their music hits and stuff like that, like the Saint Brothers and the whole table bit, and then Buckeye Sam, and it's great when you're sitting watching and you'll see Buckeye Sam's music hit and people just boo him. And then you'll see a couple people get up and applaud them. And, they usually cheer for the heels and then the Canadian guys. And, they'll hear the Canadian national anthem. They'll stand up and put their hands over their heart, which is great because, they're there living their life, and enjoying the moment. And it's always fun when you're sitting back and watching the crowd's reaction. So sometimes it's better to watch the crowd, because they're just as entertaining as the matches.
Yeah, it's funny because I tell people all the time I listen to radio and probably media in general differently than a lot of people do. In the same way with you guys, probably watch wrestling events differently than I do.
Right, right. And I'll never forget Jericho told me, he goes, you can tell if someone's having a good match by just listening to the crowd too. How engaged they are, and there's so many different, and the way he explained it. And, so it just, as a fan, you just wouldn't realize that, but,
well, that's one
yeah,
thing.
it's definitely
Stone Cold Steve Austin, the one time I'd interview him, or I got to interview him, I should say in 2006, I want to say, or it might have been later than that because he already wrestled WrestleMania. He said the building's so big at Ford Field that he couldn't really hear the crowd. And he told me, he says, we got back to the back of the, to the backstage area, and he looked at Vince. He said, "Man, we stunk the place up." But then they watched it back. He just couldn't hear him because it was
yeah, yeah. That happened to me, and it was WrestleMania 17 when I was part of the ladder match, and or TLC 2. And I'm like, man, this crowd was not reacting whatsoever. And you watched it back; it was in the Astrodome. And everything just, you just didn't hear them, when you were in there. So, but yeah, they were going wild for it. So,
and as well as anyone, Rhino, that Stone Cold Steve Austin, man, his matches, at least from what I could tell, played big time off of the crowd.
oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, and he really wouldn't call much. He would just go out there and listen to the crowd and just, work off of that. So,
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to let you guys go here. IWR, Insane Wrestling Revolution, one of my favorite things to do on a Thursday night, and I can't wait to get back and see you guys. Of course, we'll give this a good plug, and hopefully you guys have a great turnout on Thursday. And like I said, charge a few extra bucks and put them through tables, Rhino. I mean,
yeah,
that's
As
really
long as you're first, as long as you're first in line.
yeah, yeah,
that's really what they want. Yeah, right.
right.
I'm way too small for that. So,
No, you're not.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I won't hurt your voice. You can still work.
all right, you guys, thank you so much.
Hey,
All
thank
right.
you so much. I
Thanks,
appreciate it.
Meltdown.